Hello, friends. This is Chandrakant, and welcome to Akulmak. And today in Doctor Speak, we would like to discuss something which affects a lot of people. Actually, it is something called sleeplessness. There is a medical term for it, and therefore, let us invite the doctor, Dr. Pooja Bedi from Shimla. She is joining us, and we will discuss more about this. So, how are you, Dr. Pooja?
Good afternoon, CK. I'm absolutely fine. This is a pleasure to connect with you every time.
It is our pleasure. And, doctor, that many people are suffering from something called less sleep hours, like including myself. I cannot sleep more than 5 hours or 6 hours. And whatever I do, I even, relax or do whatever, I get up in five and a five. My total daily sleep is only 5 hours or maximum 5 hours, 30 minutes. I'm sure there are people who are even sleeping less. So I think this is something which is suffering many people. Would like to take your opinion on this.
Yes, CK, as you yourself actually clearly answered the question that you sleep for 5 hours, and if you are feeling perfectly fine the very next day, it's absolutely fine. But if it is troubling your daily chores and your day to day work activity, your personal life, then definitely it's something that we have to cater for. So, sleep is basically defined in two different population groups in terms of quantity and quality. So, even in spite of sleeping for 5 hours, that the quantity wise it is little less, but if the quality of the sleep is good, then it really is not much of the concern. If you are able to get into deep sleep, if all the stages of the sleep pattern is covered, it is absolutely fine. But for some people, for certain population, it varies. For them, the quantity also matters. Like if they keep on looking at the watch that I slept today for 5 hours, I had a good sleep because I slept for 8 hours. So quantity in some population it matters, but more or less it's about the quality of the sleep we have. So there's a term called sleep hygiene. So how do we make sure and consider all those parameters so we get good quantity as well as the quality of the sleep? Both of them are very, very important. It's not that the quantity isn't important. You do require, everybody requires, as per the age group, a good sleep of 6 to 8 hours every day to stay active and healthy in all the different parameters of the health, the way we define or the WHO defines it. So it's very crucial to have a good sleep of 6 to 8 hours and a good quality sleep in order to stay healthy. So that's absolutely fine if you're sleeping for 5 hours and you're active other day and it's not troubling your work schedule or your personal life. It's absolutely fine.
Doctor, I think I will ask you one very pertinent question. Why I'm sleeping for 5 hours or little over 5 hours? Simply because before I hit the bed, I have my emails to answer, and before I
Mm.
get up, I have again my emails to answer, things to do. So I'm actually sleeping along with my mobile, and I'm sure a lot of people are doing that. I know it's wrong, but there is no way we can help it because it's like some sort of work that you want to get rid of so that your day is more productive. So I think all of us are doing that. I clean my emails in the evening, as well as before I leave the bed I finish all my emails. So this is what is happening also. What is the side effect of using mobile when you go for sleep?
Oh, yes, that's a very, very apt question for today's time. See, as you correctly mentioned, that the looking at laptop or any mobile and you want to be clutter free before you go to sleep. So all this kind of blue light exposure, it definitely affects the secretion of some melatonin. That's a sleep hormone. So if you trouble that particular hormone, you're not going to get a good quality and quantity sleep, which is so crucial for the next day of working. So somehow the individual is required to do the scheduling in such a manner that whatever the clutter of the work that you want to sort it out, you should do it little prior rather than going it to bed. In fact, they say that on the bed is only meant to be sleeping. It's only made for the sleeping purpose. So if you add on your work there, you're adding on the unnecessary stress also. So my recommendation is ki please either you be little relaxed and do the cluttering thing, clearing of the clutter maybe in the morning, or your work that you want to finish, get up a little early in the morning rather than exposing yourself to the blue light and troubling the balance of the melatonin, which in turn will definitely affect the sleep cycle. So it's so crucial that you please, or that particular individual must not use any blue light device before getting to bed. So it's ideally recommended either you can get up an hour early, that's perfectly fine, and do your work at that particular status. But in case you think that it is going to trouble your sleep, then I highly recommend please do it a little early so that you are giving your eyes and your mind a little calming, soothing, sleep hygiene factor and a parameter where you get into good deep sleep. So please schedule it. It's not that difficult also.
Yeah, but the reality is that if you can get rid of, you see, people like me would be getting 200 to 300 emails or messages of different types on daily basis. So it's a lot of work replying to people, and if you don't reply, it looks like something which is not professional. I mean, suppose you say yes, no, or if you don't respond to that person, it appears sort of a bad practice, bad professional practice. So if you can say that I'm free, not free, etc., even a small reply would maintain your professionalism. So only for that perspective we actually try to close all these email loops, and it has been going on for last many years since we started our career. It's been there. But I think I have done a lot of reading that blue light creates a lot of sleeplessness in people. And now what has happened is that if I don't finish my work, I have another worry in my mind. I have not finished. So it has sort of become a habit, but I know it is wrong. However, this is a typical case for a person like me, but there could be people who may be affected by some sort of serious condition where they don't even get to sleep 2 3 hours, or they don't even get to sleep. In those cases, what is the remedy?
Uh, Coming to the first part where you think where we are, I myself include in your category, because professionalism definitely comes up sometime where you have to be available at odd hours also. So that's perfectly fine if it is happening on odd hour basis. But for people with, if this is happening on routine basis, that you are getting exposed to blue light or you're on your laptops or mobiles to reply to people. So I will recommend first thing that please do the meditation before going to sleep. I'm not saying do it for 30, 40 minutes. No, that's not required at all. A good meditation of, in fact, of 7 to 10 minutes will make you sleep very, very nicely in a very modest amount. So that is the first thing. Please do meditation. In case somebody is not uh, equipped with how to do the meditation, they can simply do the breathing exercise and close your eyes. And if you follow the simple breathing, there's a particular pattern to do the breathing exercise. So if somebody follows it, it definitely soothes the mind as well as the eyes, which get individual into a good sleep. So my recommendation, meditation, breathing, and some kind of eye exercise. So your eyes, whatever soreness they have suffered because of the exposure or exertion, we tend to work the entire day, so they are very very exhausted. So please do some simple, very basic eye exercise before going to bed. If we have to, getting into a good sleep pattern. Coming to the second part of the question where you mentioned that yes, sleeplessness actually can lead to very serious conditions. Uh, First, we have to rule out why the sleeplessness is happening. So, the first cause, that is the physiological cause. It can be because of the comorbidity factors. Like, for example, in hyperthyroidism, very simple one, people tend to sleep less. So, obesity can sometimes lead to sleeplessness, and there are many other medical conditions which can lead to. There's the psychological factors, the second thing. If we're talking specifically about the psychological, people having anxiety issues or depression, they tend to suffer insomnia and vice versa. In fact, insomnia can also lead to anxiety and depression, maybe in later on cases. But yes, it really affects vice versa in both the cases. And the third is the medicine induced kind of medication we take. It definitely affects the sleep pattern. And in medicine itself, I will also include certain chemicals. Some people are used to smoking, some are more addicted to nicotine, caffeine intake, drugs intake, in youngsters. These all conditions can lead to sleeplessness. Now, sleeplessness, it actually affects the way the factors are causing it. It affects the psychological mindset of a person, it affects the physiological mindset of a person, as well as the societal factors. You know, Talking specifically about the psychological factors, there are so many mental cases that are coming up just because people are not able to sleep nicely. And they come out saying that they are not able to sleep. Either they get up in the middle of the night, or they used to wake up little late, but now the waking pattern has also changed. They wake up early now. So all these are, you can say, initial indicators which tells us that there might be some medical intervention that is required in such cases. So yes, you are very right in saying that sleeplessness or insomnia can lead to major medical conditions in people. Yes.
So, doctor, is this related to things like hypertension and also type A diabetes?
Yes, definitely. Yes. Hypertension, definitely. And type 2 diabetes as well. They both the cases, the sleep pattern is definitely affected. As I mentioned, that the medical conditions can actually lead to insomnia or sleeplessness. So the person is continuously in a stage where they are putting effort to sleep, which make them mentally more drained out. So somehow, yes, the comorbidity factors as hypertension, high BP, hyperthyroidism, and many more such conditions can actually lead to sleeplessness.
So, I think the one good advice that you have given is, you can have you can do a meditation 10-15 minutes. You finish your work, sit on a bed and do meditation for 5 minutes. That will help you sleep continuously for 5 hours in a sound sleep. So I think that's a very good advice. Anything beyond, if you're facing any problem, I think you need to consult a doctor to take some medication. And I think meditation is one of the key ingredient. If we do that, then it will solve some of our problems also.
In fact, many of them, CK, to be very frank, because if somebody is mentally sound, the mental level or the balance can actually cater for the physical and the spiritual health as well. So it's very important to stay mentally healthy. That's very crucial, and for that, one definitely need a good sleep pattern. And one thing that I always recommend in my clinic in day-to-day consultation. In fact, today in the morning also I told a person to have a glass of milk with fistful of nuts. Trust me, it really helps a lot to get into a good sleep. Try to have your meal a little early, around 7:30 or 8 o'clock. If somebody can have their meal at that particular time, then your stomach is, and your abdominal activities, bowel movements, everything is looked after very nicely. And the cases which get troubled because of the acidity and many other gastric factors, the sleep will be catered for very nicely. So having a little early meal in the evening uh, will definitely look after the good bowel habit, and in turn will have a good sound sleep. So I always recommend a glass of warm milk in the night, independent of the fact of what the weather is going on, but warm glass of milk with fistful of nuts. Let me add one more thing. Magnesium is a very, very good source of, you know, sleep pattern. So if somebody is deficient in magnesium, it can lead to sleep deficiency. So it's so crucial to maintain your magnesium, and that can be easily catered just to have a couple of bananas a day, and the magnesium need can be catered very nicely. So magnesium is a very crucial factor that we keep on ignoring, and sometimes it happens in the clinic also that the clinicians are not able to diagnose the real root cause of the thing. So dietary factors are also very, very crucial as far as the sleep is concerned. Have your diet little early in the evening, so bowels are little lightened up, and then to have a fistful of nuts with a warm glass of milk, and definitely not to have much of the carbs, and overfilling, especially in the evening time, is not a good idea.
So I think to summarize today's discussion, first of all, we need to do little meditation before we hit the bed. Second is in the morning we should have warm milk with nuts. Things like almonds. I think that's the most preferred nut. And fourth is at least one or two bananas during the day. So I think these will solve some of our problems. Anything more than that will require a doctor's intervention. So I think it was a pleasure talking to you today, Dr. Pooja, and thank you very much for coming over and discussing this very important subject, which is affecting, I think, 80% of the population today.
Thank you, CK. It's a pleasure. Thank you so much.
See you next time. Bye bye.
Bye bye.